Anyone that knows the top people in reform knows which people in reform are cokeheads. We know the people that get them their coke.
Breaking right now, Dominic Cummings has made an extraordinary cocaine claim about the bigwigs within Reform UK after previously meeting with the party's leader, Nigel Farage, to put aside their previous differences and potentially even try to work with the party to prepare for government. But in an astonishing new Substack, Dominic Cummings is really going for reform in quite a lot of detail. He writes, reform. The reform people are way overconfident. They are ahead because everyone collapsed, not because they have a great team. Some of the team are cokeheads. Others are morons. Cokeheads and morons fall apart under pressure. At some point, someone will put them under pressure. They cannot sustain focus. They just chase news cycles. He also added that reform are not recruiting elite talent. He said he wrote months ago that the critical indicator for reform is signs of hiring great people. There's a couple of positive signs, but overall they still resemble the ERG. They've even started recruiting the dregs of the Tory party, MPs and staff. Remainer Jake Berry is not quite Tom Watson, but he's adjacent. If reform continues recruiting these dregs, they'll do something serious damage. It's the exact opposite to what they should be doing, which is recruiting great people representing the best of the country and showing how different they are to the dead old parties, as I wrote in February. They said last year they wouldn't do this, so it's another sign of a clear lack of direction in HQ. He said he's glad he backed the party at the local elections because it's more pressure to accelerate the collapse of the old parties and force people to contemplate more change. But the critical question remains, does Farage want to be PM and will therefore recruit elite talent with all that implies? So far, he is not answering that question. Yes, if he continues, not even to pretend to have a plan to recruit elite talent, then elite talent will more and more conclude that his priority is not creating a team that can control number 10 and change the country. If you're enjoying what we're doing here on Outspoken, please consider joining our thriving community over on Substack, www.outspoken.live. You can sign up completely for free, but Substack is so important to me. It is a free speech platform. It protects me from big tech cancellation. Plus, you get to communicate directly with me. Head on over www.outspoken.live, enter your email address, and sign up today. I think he's made some really valid points, actually, about Reform UK. Being completely honest, there is a huge arrogance within that party. It is summed up by their chairman, Zia Youssef, who literally today is talking about the fact that he wants to be chancellor now. And he is this unelected dude who has been given carte blanche by Nigel Farage, even though he quit the party, even though he liked an anti-Semitic tweet. It is astonishing. Now, we don't know exactly who Dominic Cummings is talking about in terms of the cocaine news. That is illegal, so we have to be very careful. But Father Calvin, this is a big deal, isn't it? Some of the team are cokeheads, other are morons. Cokeheads and morons fall apart under pressure. A damning indictment of our potential future government, in your view?
No, not at all. Dominic Cummings is very clever, and I've always said he's very clever. What he's doing here is playing games. Some of his closest allies, some of the people he has helped put into government time and time again, ministers, we know to be cokeheads, and he knows them to be cokeheads. So he's playing a game of pointing a finger. We all know, anyone that knows the top people in reform knows which people in reform are cokeheads. We know the people that get them their coke. Unfortunately, we're not allowed to name names because we'll be behind bars, but we know this degeneracy is going on. Dominic Cummings is not separate from that degeneracy. He's just pointing a finger to, I don't know, maybe he wants to be involved in reform, maybe he wants to shape it, and maybe when he says invite, what did he say? Not elite. Did he say elite?
Elite people, yeah. He wants the elite rather than just sort of going for failed Tories, which I think is
Right,
a
I think
fair
we've had
point.
enough of the elite, to be honest with you. But if
Oh,
he,
true.
when he says you need to work with the elite, I think what he's talking about is him and his team,
Yeah, he
who are
likes
doing
this
all
concept of
the.
like outsiders, sort of tech bros. That's his
Oh
sort
yeah,
of
yeah, yeah.
people. But first, in today's digital world, your online freedom and safety have never been more under threat, whether it's state overreach, tracking by big tech, or cyber criminals lurking on public Wi-Fi. Indeed, in the UK, just this week, we've now seen many popular sites and important content, even my news reporting here on Outspoken, even important speeches in the House of Commons censored entirely because of the government's so-called new Online Safety Act. You will have heard, I'm sure, in this discussion, lots of people saying you need to get a VPN to protect yourself and still access all your favorite content. Well, guess what? I have the perfect solution. It's Surfshark, by far the world's best VPN that protects your identity and secures your data. But the great thing is Surfshark is actually so much more than a VPN, and you can go to surfshark.com/outspoken for an extra 4 months of Surfshark to secure your data, protect your freedom, and support Outspoken at the same time. Now look at this. Surfshark's Clean Web feature blocks ads, trackers, malware, and phishing links so you can browse safely without being spied on. And it makes the experience so much easier and more pleasant too. Need to access certain apps or websites without VPN interference, like your banking app, for example? Well, Surfshark's bypasser feature handles that with ease. And if your VPN connection ever drops, Surfshark's kill switch immediately disconnects your device from the internet, keeping your data safe at all times. Plus, with dynamic multi-hop, you can route your connection through 2 different countries at once, doubling your encryption and making tracking nearly impossible. This also means you can freely switch beyond your favorite country lock shows with the click of a button. So you can be watching effectively your favorite TV shows or sport from anywhere in the world, wherever you are. There are other benefits of Surfshark too. You can use it on unlimited devices, meaning your entire household can stay safe with just one subscription. And with over 3,200 servers in over 100 countries, there is a world of choice at your fingertips. And I know for lots of you, this will be your first time using a VPN, but the great news is that Surfshark offers you 24/7 customer service. So go to surfshark.com/outspoken for an extra 4 months of Surfshark. And what's more, this is really important. Surfshark is so confident it's the best VPN in the world. Trust me, it is. I use it every single day, that you can give it a try for a full 30 days. And if you're not entirely satisfied, you will get your money back. So go to surfshark.com/outspoken or use the code outspoken at checkout to get 4 extra months of Surfshark VPN. But now back to the show.
But not all of them. Some of them, and Nadine Dorries's book is the best on this for naming names. But some of them are very key players in British politics and have been for a long time, across the board actually. And so Dominic Cummings is playing a very clever game here, but he's not wrong. And the Reform Party, from the very top, has a problem with cocaine that needs to be addressed.
So you do think that's an issue?
It is. We know it to be an issue.
Okay. Dave Marshall, does it matter to you? I mean, if we take this, I guess, from a very straightforward point of view, given you're a law and order guy, you're a police guy, taking cocaine is against the law. Some people want drug legalization. I don't. I'm zero tolerance, actually. So to me, it's quite astonishing that this very obvious law breaking would be acceptable when Reform UK are so tough on other people in terms of, maybe we sent a tweet a few years ago that supported Tommy Robinson, for example. Doesn't matter that they're breaking the law.
Yeah, of course it matters. And I am, you won't be surprised to hear, pretty zero tolerance on that stuff myself. Yes, you do want the best and the brightest at the top levels of reform, but you do not want to have those people in any way affected in their judgment by consumption of drugs. And if reform are going to have a strict vetting policy, and we're led to believe they now do, in terms of who's admitted and who's ejected from the party, my belief would be that anyone who is suspected of consuming controlled drugs should be on that list of people for ejection pretty damn quick. I mean, they have to set standards, and they have to set standards that show they are serious about being a credible political force in the United Kingdom. And they're going to take hold of the country and sort out some of the obvious messes that we see around mass migration and crime and some of the economic stuff. They have to do that with a clean slate. They can't be another party of sleaze. We've had enough of that. They need to be the credible alternative, the honest alternative. And I do think that you cannot be taken seriously as the next government in waiting if there's any tolerance whatsoever of this sort of behaviour.
Yeah, I think it's sort of terrible. It's a middle class thing that has happened, Father Calvin Robinson, especially in the elite class, right? And unfortunately, even though Reform UK like to present themselves as being outside the establishment, we know in lots of ways they're part of that establishment, that Westminster, that North London way of thinking. And it's almost like they have forgotten that the consumption of illegal drugs, the consumption of the cocaine that you're sniffing every night when you go out in toilets in Westminster. And by the way, this is no conspiracy. I mean, quite recently, I believe one of the official, I think, is it called, I mean, again, I'm not one of these Westminster guys, but is it the Strangers Bar or something within the House of Commons? Father Calvin actually had to be shut. And part of that was because there was testing going on, and very often those toilets would test positive for cocaine. That is within our parliament. But they think it's okay, is the point that I'm making. They don't realize that actually your illegal drugs is driving crime that causes lots of pain for lots of other people.
100%. It's degenerate, it's debauched, it's horrible. But I think if we put random drug testing into the Houses of Parliament tomorrow, the whole country would fall apart because they're all doing it. This is the problem. Well, not all of them, but so many of them are doing it. And anyone that works in Westminster knows so many of the key players are cokeheads, and it's bad. And absolutely, Cummings is right to point it out because it needs to end. But unfortunately, many of his side are doing it too. And so we need to say, actually, to our politicians, we expect a higher degree of morality from all of you, please. Can you actually be good, standing Christian citizens of England rather than just degenerates who are in there for a good time? And I get it; it's a high pressure environment. I get that. No excuse for breaking the law in that way.
No, indeed. And Father Calvin, unfortunately, the hopes that we had when it looked like Zia Youssef had been driven out of the party and Farage had wanted him to be gone, it has just totally backfired. Because after he threatened, remember, to go public in terms of racism within the party, which he absolutely did, it was to Andrew Pearce in the Daily Mail, Farage was so terrified, and now he's back, even though he's not the chairman of the party. The actual chairman of the party, who was a guy called David Bull, who I actually think is a really decent guy, former presenter on Talk, he's never seen. It's Youssef, who's everywhere. It's just bizarre.
I've known David a long time. I also like David. He's not particularly conservative, certainly not culturally or socially, so he shouldn't be the chairman of a so-called conservative party. But you're right in that Mohammed Ziyad Youssef is all over the place. I don't know how much he's invested in reform, but it's certainly bought him a seat at the table, and that's part of the problem. Our politicians or our politics shouldn't be easily purchasable. It should be about integrity, service, duty, obligation, not about money. And if I had my way, you'd have to be a Briton, or you'd have to be English to stand in England anyway, and Mohammed Ziyad Youssef is not. You'd have to be Christian to stand in English Parliament too, and he is not that either. So he would have no chance in my take on British politics. But unfortunately, we live in a liberal country these days, and anyone can do whatever they like, unless you're a citizen.
Thank you so much for watching Dan Wootton Outspoken. Please click on my face just to the bottom left to subscribe to this brand new independent news source, and turn on the notification bell so you'll be alerted to our brand new live shows, uncancelled interviews, and special royal episodes. Outspoken is also now available as a podcast, so you can listen to the show every weekday on the go, wherever you are.